Hi, it's Greg Schnell, and I'm here with your Daily 5. First of all, let's talk about Shopify. This week we saw some big moves in the XLY, the consumer discretionary. Jamie Dimon mentioned that credit card levels are really low, but lots of spending going on credit cards. So that was pretty valuable information, and also that credit card debt was quite low. So lots of things I like on this chart. A couple of things I want to point out, and I'll show it on the daily as well as the weekly, because it's actually the weekly setup I like the most. But what we see on the daily is we have a big declining series of highs here going back to mid-July. Wouldn't take much. We're at call it 1500 this morning and going up to 1640. A breakout here looks to me like we're going to go on to all-time highs, and I really like the fact that this PPO momentum trend, the downtrend that's been in place for momentum for the last 4 months, has broken to the upside. So that looks really good to me. What we've got here is the weekly chart for Shopify, and you can just see kind of a big resistance layer. Obviously, the chart on log scale is getting compressed here, but it was 1500 back in February, March, and we're just kind of revisiting that level now. And so I think a breakout here would make a lot of sense. The one thing I like is this PPO downtrend also on the weekly, setting up for a breakout to the upside. And these two momentum timeframes are quite significantly different, so I like it when they both kind of get in gear, and it looks to me like we're going to break out to all-time highs. We just got our first buy signal on Shopify on the full stochastic on the weekly chart. So to me it looks set up to break out to the upside, and I think if it breaks that trend and holds that I showed on the daily, it's got lots of room. My next one is Amazon, and again, same sort of stock, same sort of industry group, but what I wanted to show is they both have the same setup, and they're just starting to get going. So that's one thing I like here. You can see the Amazon low in August and the Amazon low in October. We have a lot higher momentum, even though the lows were relatively similar. So improving momentum coming off the second low. We've now broken the downtrend, and I don't want to suggest it won't take some energy to grind through here. We've been straight up for a week, but looks to me like we've got everything in place for this to go higher. I really like the way you've got positive divergence, a big downtrend on the PPO momentum breaking. And when we go look at this one on the weekly, we see the same thing where Amazon had a big long trend that was 2 years long, and when it started to break out back in 2020, that was a real pop. Went from, I'll call it in the 2000s to the 3500s. And now we've pulled back for about a year in momentum. We're still above zero, and strong stocks typically hold above zero. But what I would like to see is this breakout to the upside here, and that would look pretty good on my books. You can also see the full stochastic has started to turn up. So everything seems to be lining up for these two stocks, and maybe it's a week or two before it actually kicks in. But I also think we're heading into the strong season all the way into April for both of these stocks. My next one is totally different. It's on the material side of things. And last week, 2 weeks ago now, Freeport McMoran moved up 10% in a week while still in the downtrend, and has started to break that downtrend. And now what's happened is we've got the horizontal support and resistance. So I want to watch the stock here and make sure it breaks out. But there's a lot of positive push here after a 4-month pullback in these names, and to me they look set up to break out to the upside. And this recording is early on Friday morning, 11:19, I guess, Friday noon. And then what you see here is a breakout to the upside would be pretty bullish, with a hammer candle starting to form during the day. Freeport is one of the biggest names in copper, and with all of the electrical grid build out, the cars taking more copper, chips starting to show up, I think we're going to start to see a resurgence in the copper markets here. My next one is in the precious metals trade, and I know many people will just go to sleep on precious metals, but I think if we're going to see the inflation, and I do think we're going to see inflation. Perhaps one way to play it is Bitcoin. The other way to play it is precious metals. I know they've been out of favor for a year since everything else has been percolating so nicely. Now that things have kind of normalized and we're back into a stock market that's been running for a year and a half. It wouldn't surprise me that another inflation indicator starts to kick off. And so this one is a really good looking chart, and I'd like to see it start to run up. So we can see a big downtrend here, or a sideways trend anyway, in momentum. When it kicked off, it was a pretty good run, call it 17 to 26. But it's been sliding for over a year, and now it's sitting here down near support. $14 was the support area. We've rallied up to 16, but again, I think the stock could easily, if all of a sudden we start to break these downward momentum lines, and we're doing that right here this week on Silver Standard. So it's midweek. It's not for sure that we're going to break out, but it's one of the areas I like just because it's been left for dead. Silver made a new 52-week low for one day and immediately started to reverse higher. So I feel like anybody who had a stop is stopped out, and they don't really have a good method of like if the market continues to fall, cool, but anybody who's still holding in there, I think, is a firm holder, and to me that looks a lot more positive. Gold has been testing the $1,500 level lately a few times. We'll see if it can actually kick through. I think I said $1,500 level. Anyway, that's a mistake. As gold tries to get through this round number here, I think it's really important that we break out to the upside, and once we get our follow through, it's 1800. Once we get our follow through that we want to run through, that push above 1800 is a big friction zone. I think there's lots of room to the upside. Lastly, I went with First Solar, and one of the reasons I like this chart is it's just sitting up at prior resistance. It ran up to this level in the EV theme, where everything alternative energy was really taking off. It's pulled back. It's made a nice cup, a little handle here, and I think if it starts to break out, the measured move on this could take you all the way up to 160. So looks pretty good to me. I think I probably exaggerated the measured move. It's got a $40 measured move on it. So maybe, 150, something like that. I like it here just because that whole area looks like it's starting to warm up again. And the stock is one of the biggest names in solar. So if that was going to take off, to me, it's a good area to stay looking at. It's a different way of playing the energy theme that's breaking out all over, with natural gas and coal and oil going higher. Gasoline and diesel fuel just made new 7-year highs. So there's lots of reasons to be in energy here, and I just keep thinking that we'll have an opportunity to do more in that space. If you like some of the analysis I pointed out today, feel free to head over to gregschnell.com/explore. You can do a free trial for 2 weeks over there. See some of what our newsletters are like, our monthly conference calls. Dwight always posts 5 trade setups per day on the site. They're really strong. Lots of people rave about how good the quality is on those trade setups. My Schnell Strength Index was at 10% when I did this last month. It's over 50% now, which is really nice to see. A group of industry groups rising up, and we seem to be getting a lot of momentum starting to take off to the upside. To me, it feels like a good run into the end of the fourth quarter. We'll see if that's the way it plays out. So thank you for taking the time to join me. Daily 5 is always fun to do, and good luck with your investing out there, and stay focused and optimistic. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're going to bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.